Please keep that energy going for your next comedian coming to the stage. Mamawala, everybody. Let them hear it. Thanks a lot. You seem like you're willing to entertain the idea of having good times. That's encouraging. Everyone's giving you a hard time tonight, but in all honesty, I'm happy to be here because I do terrible shows all the time. This is not one of them. This is definitely... I recently passed the 1-year anniversary of the worst show I've ever done. It was last year in my hometown in New Jersey. I was on a show where I was sandwiched in between 2 heavy metal bands. Did not go well. And after the show, a kid I had not seen since high school walked up to me and said, and I quote, "I can't believe I ironed a polo for this." So, this feels outstanding. Go ahead and address this if you're wondering what kind of tan person I am. My dad is from India. My mom is a tiny white lady from Wisconsin. So statistically speaking, I should not exist right here. I like just the Indian part, gotta laugh. That's funny. It usually works to my advantage if people have no idea what race I am, but that's not always the case, and the reason for that is, as a comic in New York, you do multiple shows every night. You do 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And I've noticed I have this habit recently where whenever I'm on the subway in between shows, I want to be preparing myself for the next place I'm going to. So what I do is I take out my cell phone, just hit the stopwatch, like 5 minutes, and I'm kind of running through my material in my head, which is fine for me because I know what I'm doing. But to everyone else in that subway car, I'm just an ethnically ambiguous, unshaven man who is mumbling things to himself and laughing while he watches a stopwatch go from 5 minutes down to 0. Scaring a lot of tourists. But it's true, I'm very in-between looking both in terms of my age and my race. So your perception of me is going to be very much based on your own level of fear and paranoia. I have the kind of face where if I get off the train and I leave a backpack, there's a certain kind of person who thinks, "Oh no, that nice Latino college student's going to do poorly on his midterms." There's also another kind of person who's like, "Well, you've had a good run, but I guess this is it." Gotta figure out which person you are. It's a little sad, but when I was 12, my grandpa died, and the day he died, it came as a real shock, because he'd never done that before. But, by the way, this is my white grandpa, that's going to be important in a minute. The day he died, I was supposed to play in this basketball game. I didn't want to go because I was upset, but my mom insisted that I go. She's like, "No, you should really play. It's what he would have wanted. He loved watching me play sports." But a couple days later, we went to his funeral, and I realized people only ever use that phrase to encourage positive things. Because after the funeral, he went out for lunch, and our waiter was black, and I tapped my mom on the shoulder, and I was like, "Should we ask for a different waiter?" And she was like, "What?" And I was like, "It's what grandpa would have wanted." An intensely racist man. Twist ending, my grandpa was a dick. I will say this, I am pro-gay rights and pro-gay marriage, but I was inadvertently homophobic on the subway recently. I'll explain. I have mild OCD, I have obsessive-compulsive tendencies. And I do this thing on the train often where I want the metal bar to line up with the center of the sliding doors within my eye line. If it doesn't, it makes my brain hurt, because that's how OCD works. So I'm doing my weird OCD thing, and unbeknownst to me, there's a gay couple sitting the 2-seater by the door, but all they're seeing me doing from their perspective is squinting towards them, and just going like this. A lot. So finally one of them goes, "Do you have a problem?" And I was like, "Yes, I do," because I thought he was asking about the OCD. Like, I was concerned for my well-being. So they got up and angrily left the train, and it wasn't until a few stops later that I realized what had happened. And while I feel bad they thought I was a bigot, if I'm being honest with myself, I think I would ultimately rather be thought of as a homophobe than as a guy who's doing whatever the hell I was doing. It worked out great. I'm excited to tell you folks that I'm getting married this year. I'm actually getting married in September, and thank you very much for that rousing applause. Very happy, which apparently is not relatable. My fiance's name is Allie, but she spells it A-L-I, so on paper it looks like it might be in a same-sex relationship with a Muslim man. And I appreciate her a great deal because I've been in terrible relationships before. Like, I was dating a girl one time who got into this very intense diet, which I was fine with until she started incorporating all these cheat days. She would still eat really healthy, but have sex with other guys. But I feel like there's always a lot of talk about double standards between men and women. As a guy, I'm willing to acknowledge that it's usually easier to be a male. There's certain things that women can do that men can never pull off in a million years. Like a couple years ago, Bud Light aired a Super Bowl commercial that most of you probably saw. It's called Ian Up for Whatever. It's this hidden camera thing where this girl walks up to a guy by himself at a bar. She's holding a Bud Light. And she goes, "Hey, if I give this to you, are you up for whatever happens next?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure," and then proceeds to have the best night he's ever had. But if a man walks up to a woman by herself at a bar with an open Bud Light bottle, he goes, "Hey, if I give this to you, are you up for whatever happens next?" That is not a Bud Light commercial, that's a public service announcement. All right, I'm Mamawala. Have a good night. Thank you.